Welcome to Wealth Creation Series, where we learn and grow together with one goal, the goal of creating wealth. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe to this channel.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll talk about the war between the rideshare companies Uber, Lyft, and the state of California. After which we'll talk about Warren Buffett buying the bank Barrick Gold and the surge in the real estate market. And finally, we'll talk about the different ways to make money from real estate. So hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you do, please hit the like and subscribe button because that definitely helps out the channel. So a lawsuit was filed against the popular ride-sharing companies Uber and Lyft by the California's Attorney General, claiming Uber and Lyft have skirted expenses for workers by falsely classifying them as contractors rather than employees. I had interest in this because I own shares of Uber, although it comprises a very minor part of the portfolio. By the way, you can see my complete portfolio with M1 Finance. I have always added a link to it below my videos. So Lyft said yesterday it was suspending services in California as of midnight because of a court allowed a requirement that it reclassify its drivers as employees. Today afternoon, Uber and Lyft won a reprieve in the California amid media reports that the order on classifying its drivers as employees rather than contractors has been delayed. But later news broke that the California Appeals Court extended the length of the times. As a result, both these companies said they would continue operating in the California during the stay after threatening to suspend the service. In my opinion, they are to be classified as employees. The cost of rideshare services will go up. The cost ultimately would be paid by the consumer. People for these ride-sharing companies are called gig economy workers for a reason. Many of them drive and make money in their free time. If these workers get classified as employees, they would be expected to work an 8-hour shift, which many Uber and Lyft drivers don't want to. Many of these drivers also drive for both these companies, which again they would not be able to. If this law passes through, there would be a very little differentiation between these companies and a regular cab taxi service. So as soon as the news came that Uber and Lyft, both companies are going to continue their services, their shares popped up yesterday after market about 5% each. Warren Buffett's investing prowess is known far and wide on the Wall Street. The CEO of Berkshire Hathaway has made himself and his shareholders a fortune over the past 5 decades by purchasing high quality companies with sustainable competitive advantage on the cheap, and most importantly holding them for a long period of time. What makes this portfolio additions such as a head scratcher is that Buffett has never been a fan of gold, the physical metal. Buffett has for decades harped on physical gold's lack of utility. This is to say that gold isn't used to produce anything. When Buffett buys a bank stock or Coca-Cola, he knows that these are businesses that will keep churning out products and services that will generate consistent revenue and cash flow. Meanwhile, gold is a piece of lustrous metal that, in Buffett's eyes, takes up storage space and racks up security fees. Warren Buffett hates gold. He has made no secret of his distaste for his investment. But Oracle of Omaha, Berkshire Hathaway, revealed Friday that it has bought a new stake in the top mining company Barrick Gold. Shares of Barrick Gold on the world's most valuable mining firms soared 12% Monday on this news. Rival miners Newmont, Anglo Gold, and Yamana also all rose sharply. Berkshire did not buy actual gold, but shares of mining companies that typically rise and fall in tandem with the price of commodity. So it's hard to be bullish on a miner if you think gold prices are going to plummet. So Buffett might be making a bet on more fear and eventual rise in rates, hurting the economy. There are other signs that Berkshire is taking more steps to position its portfolio in such a downturn. Berkshire revealed in its latest regulatory filing with the Securities Exchange Commission on Friday that it had sold out of its stakes in investment banking giant Goldman Sachs and also trimmed positions in big banks such as Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Bank of New York. Berkshire also cut down its stakes in Visa and MasterCard. With an investment of 564 million, the investment gives Berkshire a 1.18% stake in Barrick Gold and makes it the 11th largest stakeholder of the company. Sales of existing homes soared 24% in July from June, according to the National Association of Realtors. That's the strongest monthly gain in the history of the survey, going back to 1968, and the highest sales pace since December 2006. Sales were up 8.7% higher from July 2019. The supply of existing homes plummeted 21% annually, with just 1.5 million homes for sale at the end of July. That shortage drove the median price of the homes sold in July up by 8.5% to over 304,000. This is a record high nominal price, but also the highest price when adjusted for inflation. At this point, one might think, oh, there's such a lot of inflation, there's loss of jobs, and the country's GDP is down. But at the same time, people are buying up houses. I guess it's because of the low interest rates right now that everybody is moving and planning on buying a second house or upgrading their existing one. Now for the second part of our video, we'll talk about different ways to make money with real estate investing. Investing in real estate can be hard at first, especially when it's your first project or first property, but it's once you get into the cycle, you kind of keep on pedaling on it and moving ahead, and that's when things kind of get more easier for an individual. So the first way is to buy your own property, your own house, and that's where most people enter into the real estate industry. So when you buy your own house, you paid by putting down like 10-20% of the initial amount as capital, and then take the rest as a mortgage. But you have to make sure that you are able to easily pay off that mortgage. You can take different terms of loan, but you should not take anything less than, I would say, 10 years. And I also don't advocate going 30 years. I think for me personally, 15 years is the sweet spot. Once you have your first house, you could then tap into the home equity of the first one and use that money to buy another place, and you can rent out the second place, and again repeat the same whole process by using the second home's home equity to finance the third one. And that's how you can start and build upon, because that's how math works and banking works. And you could then use all of those loans to pay for each our property. The second way to make money with real estate is buying a duplex building where you rent out a part of it and stay in the other half of it. And that way you could use the rent from the first one to cover the whole mortgage of your entire building. That way it also helps in the tax codes, because you are now taking the advantage of the tax loophole to pay tax on just one property and not two. And you are probably, it's like essentially living without paying any rent. So that's the advantage of buying a duplex. The third way is becoming a real estate broker, as many of you know. What you could do is sign up for a real estate broker exam. It's pretty easy. I think you can, from what I've known, it's like you can become a real estate broker in like just 2 to 3 months of studying and giving an exam. It's up, I think, and it costs about like some $1,200 to $1,500. Once you give that exam, you can go ahead and work for a broker. Becoming a real estate broker is a very good financially because you earn good commissions. You can also do this as part time, and it could be a very good way of generating side income. But you have to be really good at what you do and help people out getting their ideal home. I know people who are young and fresh out of the school, what they can do is become a real estate broker if they don't have the financial ability to go to a college and pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to get some degree and then start their career. The fourth way is to charge a real estate finder's fee. There are many people who would be willing to pay you if you know your area where you live well, if you know about a good deal which is in the market and you can find investors, you can build a good rapport with them. People will actually pay you to find a good deal in the market, and after that you could use that as a commission. The fifth way to make money is through master lease. When I say master lease, it is more like you don't own the property, but you help people get renters. If there's a problem with the property, you go and get it fixed. You are more or sort of like a property manager in this case. So the owner who doesn't have the time every time to go and fix or help the needs of the renters, they would hire you because they might probably be not from that area, or they might have been like going to another country and settling there, but they would still have their properties over here. And that's how you can make money through a master lease. We covered different ways of making money from real estate, but one question which people ask often is, should I rent or buy? And the answer is not in like black and white, but there are different things you can ask yourself, different questions which we'll go through over, which will help you decide if you should actually rent or buy a property. So to answer your question if you should rent or buy, I've put together a bunch of questions, and if you answer any of these, all of these yes, then I think you're pretty good and in clear to go ahead and buy a property yourself. So the first question for you would be, are you saving for other major financial goals? If you have some new financial goals which are coming up, so say if you want to go back to college to study further, or if you are having a child, or if you are wanting to buy a car or a newer one so that you could commute to your work safer, these things would impact your ability to pay for upfront charges towards a home. The next question would be, do you have a credit score in the mid 600s or above? The reason that is important is because the higher your credit score, the lesser the interest you need to pay. And believe me, interest makes a huge difference in the long term, especially when we are talking about 15-year and 30-year-old mortgage. It makes a huge difference. The other question is you need to answer is, do you have an emergency fund? Emergencies can crop up anytime, so you should always have some cash lying with you in case, say for example, if you are unfortunate and you kind of lose your job, you need to have enough amount left so you can push through those 5 months, 6 months periods where you don't need to borrow money, or you are not in a lurch to either. It should not be a situation where you are like fighting to pay between rent or to pay your daily expenses, or if you're paying mortgages. So you need to think about that. The next one is, can your budget handle not only your mortgage but also taxes, maintenance and incidental costs on monthly basis? That's a very huge one, because when you buy a house, it's not just you buying a house, the taxes are also there, and believe me, there will be unexpected maintenance costs which will be there. So you need to budget all of these, because when you buy a home, you need to take care of the taxes, you need to take care of anything goes wrong. While if you're renting, you don't have to worry about that because the landlord will take care of that. So this is something you need to take into consideration a lot while doing that. And after that, you need to think also, will buying a home will wipe out all your savings? If that's the case, then it's a big no-no, because you need to make sure that even after you bought the house, you'd have sufficient cash to maintain it, to go through any uncertainties. Also, you need to think, do you plan to be in this home for more than 5 years? Because if not, then the home buying is not for you. Anything, whenever you buy a home and you stay there for less than 5 years, it's it's just not worth it, because you're paying a lot of taxes when you actually sell your house. So you, instead of, all the appreciation will be lost when you just sell a house within 5 years. So it just doesn't make any financial sense. You also have to make sure that when you buy a house, you have lived in that area, you know the area well, you know the property prices, you know the people, you know the economy. That will give you a good idea if this, the area you're planning to buy, is like a growing one, it's like moving, it's like how, what is the demand, what is the schools. That will help, and it will factor in a lot with the house price. And the main thing you have to make sure is that by the time you purchase your house, you should have enough money to pay down at least 20%. I think 20% is a good number, and that you should be able to put down at least 20% plus all the fees which you have to pay while purchasing a house. So if you need to ask all these questions to yourself, and if any of the answers to these are no, then I think you should be renting instead of buying until all your answers are yes for these questions. So that is it for this week. I hope you liked the episode of the Wealth Creation series. I will bring in more ideas for financial success next week. If you do like the video, learn something new, or just enjoyed listening, please give the channel a thumbs up by pressing the like button. I make these videos for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a licensed advisor. Please do your own research before investing.